Hello, everyone. Good afternoon or good morning. This is due to the time zones difference. I don't know where you're coming from. I want to welcome you to the second day of this Azure Week, of Cloud Week. But before we start, I have an update regarding the labs yesterday. My colleague Bilal will jump and will take the stage to explain to you what steps you should do. So please just follow the instructions. And after when he's done, we'll go on with our session.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Khaled. I believe that yesterday we started and we tried to work on the labs, and we had some answers from the support regarding the labs yesterday. So I would just share with you the responses I got. Unfortunately, yesterday we were not able to do the labs. So just for you to know today, what are the updates that we got? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen just to make sure with you that you should get an accessibility for the labs. And the reason why we're doing this ahead of time of the course is because there is a little bit of time that you have to wait for the lab accessibility to be provided right there. Okay, so I will share my screen just to show you. If you go into the Cloud Weeks portal and you go into the curriculum right there, there is request access to AZ140 and AZ400 labs. Once you click there, it's going to take some time right there. It's going to take some time, and I'm assuming that's the time where we're going to finish our 2 hours. I've been promised that that is the minimum time that might it take, and it might take up to 24 hours. I'm really so sorry about this. This is what I got from the support right there. They are working very hard to grant this access. Now, once you click there, in case you don't get an access, definitely you can feel free to open a ticket right there. But this is a screenshot that I want to share with you. There is a request access to AZ140 or 400 labs. You have to click right there. You have to select AZ140. And by then, you will be able to get or gain access to the lab. Now, regarding the other issue with the maximum number of the capacity, all what you have to do is refresh the page. Try to refresh the page over and over to get that accessibility going right there. I've been promised that those problems will be solved after our session today. But unfortunately, as you can see here on the screenshot, it says it may take up to 24 hours to process. So that's the response from the support that we got right there. All right. Again, I'm really so sorry about this. I will go ahead and place a small timer, just like 5 minutes, okay, for you to log in right there and request that access. So by the time Khaled finishes his presentation, you will be able to go ahead, hopefully, and gain that accessibility that you will find sent to you by email address or granting that accessibility within these curriculums. So if you refresh the page, you will find by then AZ140 lab accessibility. Okay, just a small reminder before, while you're working on this again, just a small reminder that the way to access this page, in case you don't know how to access this page, allow me just to demonstrate this quickly with you. So the way to access this page again is by going into the tracks, right? This is where you access your Cloud Weeks portal. You click on tracks, attend tracks, and these are the tracks that is available right there. Now, from the screenshot that I showed you, you should be able to find request access right there. Okay, so 3 minutes right there while this is going, 3 minutes. Hopefully you can gain that accessibility right there. Okay. Now, I got also a message from Robert. Thank you so much, Robert. I wrote a support through Scalable Customer Support, and they provided me with a key for the lab in my email. So you can also try that to speed things up. So allow me to go ahead and share this with you as well. Thank you, Robert. and I will go ahead and send this to all of you. So you should be able to see this in the Q&A section right now. www.skillable/customer support. This is where Robert issued a ticket. This might speed things up. So please, if you would like to, go ahead and do that in case you don't get that accessibility from the labs. Okay, so 3 minutes and we will kick off. Okay, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask through the Q&A section. I will be definitely with you throughout the Q&A section. Okay, and 2 minutes and a half and we will kick off. Okay, I'll be waiting for any of your questions right there. Richard, I did the same as Robert and raised a cold in Skillable and I got my key last night. Definitely quicker. Thank you so much for that. Definitely, guys. Definitely, folks. If you can, please go ahead and issue that ticket support. That would speed things up for you. And even if you're still facing that capacity issue, that might speed things up by you issuing that ticket to the support. Danny mentioned a good question right there. AZ140 is not in the list. When you issue that ticket in the support, they're going to ask you for the courses right there. Now, at the bottom, you can mention my course is not listed, and you can type in the course AZ140. So please do that, Danny. Okay? Lab access email is not received yet. When you request the accessibility for AZ140 from that website, the screenshot right there, definitely it needs time. It takes time. So if you want to speed things up, go ahead and issue a ticket for the support. I have placed a link for you in the Q&A section right there. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I don't see any further questions so far. I'm sorry if I'm not typing anything or answering anything on the Q&A section, just to make sure that I answered all of you. If you still have any questions, please go ahead and place them in the Q&A. Thank you so much. While I was deploying the environment on deploy Forest DC, it failed for me. I continued on anyway, but I needed to make manual changes to the DNS servers. Jimmy, in case you face that issue, I would highly recommend that you retry by creating the deploy Forest DC, because yesterday Khaled faced that issue and he was able to achieve it the second time. He deleted everything and he tried it again. Now, if you have any questions related to the lab, let's keep it for the lab time, okay? I hope that answers your question. But any questions regarding gaining accessibility or even placing those accessibilities regarding the email that you might receive or issuing the ticket, please go ahead and send to me throughout the Q&A. The 5 minutes are done. I'm so sorry for the interruption, but that's all I've got so far for our session regarding the lab. And I wanted to make sure that you gain this accessibility before we start the lab time. So I'm moving forward to give the stage to my colleague Khaled, who's going to start the session with you right now. Thank you so much, everyone, and I'll be on the Q&A section.
Sorry again, guys. Can you hear me now? Okay, I'll just repeat what I said. We'll talk today about the FS logics component. What are they? How do we use them? And why do we use them? Before I go to explaining the FS logics containers, we just need to talk or know what is called the desktop or the profile of the user. Each user in every operating system should have his own personal desktop or his own profile. This is done whenever a new user is created. The operating system directly or automatically creates what is called the profile. And if you know, and you should know, that each and every user has his own profile loaded somewhere in the hard disk or in the storage of the local computer. So mostly this path is on the main drive, which is called, let's say it's C drive. I will try to share something with you from here and show you what I mean by that. Let me just show you something. Whenever you have, this is my personal computer, as you can see. This is the place where my desktop is. This is the desktop IC. This is drive C. As you can see, in Windows, we have what is called users. This storage or folder contains all the users of the users that logged into this operating system. This profile is local profile. This on my local computer. What is the difference between this profile and the profile or the profile that is created on the virtual desktops? Is that in the virtual desktop, this profile is not saved or not stored on my local computer. It is stored somewhere else, and it is stored in a shared storage that is used especially for storing the profiles of the users. As we can know, or we should know, that we have one profile that we might have one of two options for the profiles. One of them is the common profile for all the users, and other is the shared profile. All these are stored, as I told you earlier, on a storage location on the on the cloud. The role of the FS logics is to control and manage these profiles. So I can create a personal profile or a profile, or also I can create what is called a roaming profile. What is a roaming profile? Roaming profile is a profile that is must or a mandatory profile that the user finds whenever he logs in with his credentials, his username and password. He will find that profile logs to any screen. So I will explain that for you, how to configure this FS storage, how to configure the storage where this container or service is stored. We'll be seeing that and step by step. As I told you, this is a diagram that shows what I'm talking about. Here is the user logging into his desktop. This remote desktop will show us, let me put, and here you can see the user is trying to log in. Whenever the trier uses his credentials to log in, directly the remote desktop using the FSX logics will go to the Azure shared profile or shared file where all the profiles are stored, and it will take this profile from here and load it to that user. If this user is sharing all users with what is called a shared profile, he will see the shared profile that he should see. Or if he is using a roaming profile or a roamed profile that is common for all the users, also this profile will be returned to him. Then the user logs in, he will get his profile from this shared location. Also, if he has some specific applications, if he has some specific configuration, all these, if he is using his personal profile or his configured to use a personal profile or a specialized profile for him, he will see exactly the profile he must see every time he logs in. Okay, as you can see, as I told you, FSLogix is the responsible for controlling that. It stores all these on virtual hard disk. As you can see here, we have Adele, we have Nestor, and we have Megan. Each one of them has his own virtual disk, and this FSLogix will directly go to his location and get his profile. He or she will get her or his profile. As you can see here, when I'm talking about a local profile, Nestor or Megan or any user has it locally on his C drive. If we are talking about a virtual desktop, of course, he has this virtual machine, has its attached disks that will store his profile on. So what should I do to have FSLogix? Of course, I should go and install this. First thing, I should download the FSLogix agent to each and every client using the virtual desktop. Then I will have to go and choose, before I go there, I have to choose if I'm using a 32 bits or a 64-bit operating system. I will go and see that. I will show you what I mean and what I'm saying. Let me show you that. I will show you my screen again, where I downloaded. In my downloads, as you can see, I downloaded the FSLogix. I will search for that. I have tons of loads. As you can see it, I will take it from here to my desktop. I'll show it to you easier. This is the file now. As I told you, you have two versions, one for 32 bits and one for 64. I go to the release and I just set up regarding to my operating system what I need. Then I will go to my drive C to program files after installing it, and you can see the FSLogix folder. I can see this is where it is installed. This agent is automatically now installed to my computer. One additional step will be needed. I need to do something in the registry editor, but I will show you one tool, or the configuration tool of this application. It will take a second to just to load. This is the configuration tool. As you can see here, you can do some extra configuration. Of course, during the labs, you will be doing real scenario regarding that, but I just needed to show you all the steps you might face during this setup. As I told you, additional steps should be done. You go to your registry editor and add this key to each and every station or to each and every virtual desktop you are using. So you will have to add this to your registry editor for each and every user or each and every virtual desktop, so that you direct it to go to this area or to this location or to this path to get the profiles we're talking about. So after that, or before we go and install that, we should decide to store this on a storage. Of course, I need to configure a storage for that. I can use one of two storages, the general purpose, or I can use the file storage to do that. Where I can do that through the Azure portal. I will take you now to the Azure portal. I show you that. Okay. First thing to do is to create a storage account. Okay, you create a new storage account, and from there, you follow the steps of creating a new storage account, and then let me name it anything. Should be a unique name because it can be accessed from anywhere. So you should be aware to name it. I will just review and create. You are going to do that step, of course, during the labs, but I'm just guiding you to see the most of what you're going. Then you create a file storage or a file share, and there where you can store your profiles on. So these are the steps you should do. This is what you should know, and we'll be doing that step by step during the labs. So whenever you are done with that, your users, whenever he logs in or she logs in from her or his account, they will find, using their credential, they will see the file share that they created, and they will directly, they will be loaded or guided to their own profiles. Okay? Once you have created this account, as I told you, you can choose one of the storages that you need and that you need to use. As I told you, you can use the general purpose or you can use the file shares. Here is the steps you can use to add a disk to your computer, a new disk or a virtual disk to your virtual machine. You see that these steps are used to add a disk for each and every user. If you need to use it for the operating system or for any storages, as you can see, here are the steps going to that virtual machine. When we go to the virtual machine, again, this is the storage that we have done. Let me take you to the virtual machine. Okay. And here we create a new virtual machine. While creating this virtual machine, we can choose to pick up one of the virtual machines that are already in the marketplace, or you can create a new one from scratch. You can add the disk during the creation, or after this is done, you can go to this virtual machine add a disk for that machine in order to have a new storage for your machine. These are the steps that you need to follow. Go to the virtual machine. I showed you that, and add a disk and create. As you can see, here is the steps. Step one, go to the portal. Then you go to the Azure Virtual Machine. Then at the left side, you can see what is at the left sidebar of the virtual machine menu. You can see disks. Then you can choose add a disk and then create a disk. You can create the disk. You can choose between many different tiers of disks, and you can select one that you need and then create it and click on save. And now you can have a new disk. As you can see here, you can choose the name. You type in the name, the source type, and here you can use what type of hard disk, whether you are going to use the premium or the normal hard disk, and this is decided due to the speed you need to have. Okay? Then this is the model number one. As you have seen, these are the steps you need to create an FSLogix component or containers. This is the one which is responsible to hold our roaming profile, and it is the place where I store all the profiles for all the users, whether I am using personal desktops or whether I am using a pool that is shared for all the users. Another thing we talked about, how to configure the FS logics. The first step is to download, then install, then we go to configuring the registry editor to guide or to show the path where to take the profiles from. Remember that this should be done for each and every virtual machine that is going to be used. Then we go to configure the storage accounts. We create a storage account. Then we create a file share and put this file share as the source where the FX logics will be loading or storing these profiles. And we also have seen how to create a new managed data disk for Windows virtual machines. And whenever we do all these steps, we are good to launch and start using the FS logics technology or utility that is used, as it is recommended by Microsoft to use it for, as I told you, storing the profiles of all the users. Then I guess this model is clear. It is easy. It will be shown step by step during the labs. I hope you got the idea of the FS logics, because it is simple. It doesn't need a lot of configuration. 2 or 3 steps and you are ready and good to go. The next, we're going to talk about what is the RDP, how do we configure the RDP, how do we use it, how to create it, how to configure it. We're going to use a lot of tools here. As you can see here, whenever we need to create a host pool. What is the host pool? As you know, the host pool is the place that holds everything. It holds the workspace, it holds the desktop applications, it holds everything we need. I will go and show you that on the portal again, because creating the host pool and the workplace and everything is so important to know the steps. And we're going to see that in the portal, and we're going to see that and do that using the commands. I will go back to the home. I already created an Azure Virtual Desktop service. I just created one to show you, and this thing you are going to do that by yourselves, but I just did this to ease things for you and to show you what I mean. This is the host pool I'm talking about. You see the host pools. We have also application groups. The host pools is where all the hosts will be stored. As you can see, I have host pool 1. I will show you the configuration of this host pool. As you can see, this is a dashboard for my host pool. As you can see, I told you yesterday about the type of the host pool. We have the pool, and we have here the resource group that is containing this service. As you can see here, we have the subscription, and here is a summary of the virtual machine. I didn't create any virtual machine in this one. Maybe sometimes you have 3 or 4 virtual machines, or 100 or 1,000 virtual machines. Some of them might not be available. Here you can see that you have the number here that we have 5 virtual machines, let's say, and maybe one of them is not available. So here is an alert for you to go and check why isn't this virtual machine working. So you can see it and you check there, and you go on with your diagnostics and see what is going on. Let me get back to the host pool and show you how to create a new host pool in order to host the virtual machines and to host the applications that I need to use in this host pool. First thing to do is to create or to select one of the resource groups. One important thing you should know is that the resource group and the location of the host pool should be in the same location. So if you check East US, you should choose a resource group in East US, or create a new resource group in EastUS. I will create a new one. I will call it new host pool 1. Okay, this is the name. This is the resource group. I should use a name for the new host pool 2, I will call it. It will be in EastUS. I will choose just for this now. Here you can choose the type of the host pool, whether it is personal or pooled. We explained the difference between them yesterday. If it is personal, the user will be seeing his desktop or his profile whenever he logs in or he or she logs in to their profile. So it is the pool, while it is the personal, while the pool will direct all of them to one profile, and they will all see the same profile. Then we go to the load balance, which I told you yesterday about. We have two types of the load balancing. We have the breadth first or the depth first. Then we have breadth first or depth first. Then maximum session limits, maximum number of users that can log in simultaneously to this host pool. Let's say, well, I will make it 50, and I will go to next to the virtual machines, whether I need to create the virtual machines now or I need to use an extension to use that. As you see here, I didn't choose the virtual network. It needs a virtual network in order to work. Oops, I will do it again, sorry. I'll do it fastly. But what I missed was choosing the virtual machine, the virtual network. Again, I will choose the one ready. I will give it a name, host pool 2 again, sorry for that. I will leave it as a desktop. You will know these selections whenever we are going to proceed with the explanation. I will leave it pooled. Maximum number of users is 50. Then I will go to the virtual machines. I will not create them now. If you need to create them now, you can choose yes. Where are you? Which resource group are you using? I will use the same resource group. This is a prefix name, a name that will be used for each and every host pool. It will be preceding the name of each and every machine that will be going to be used. I will call it AZ40, let's say 140. November. This is the virtual machine location in EastUS. The availability zone, I can use no infrastructure if I don't need redundancy, or I will choose availability zones for redundancy. I will say now no infrastructure, just to ease the creation. We have here to choose the size. We talked yesterday about the size. I can change the size. If I have a predefined image, I will tell you about that, but let me just show you the sizes. As you can see here, I choose the family I would prefer to use. As you can see here, we have lots of types and lots of families, and this is up to your needs. You decide what you're going to use. I will just select. You can see here the number, the speed, the memory, the disk of the size of the disk, the maximum IOPS, and everything you need to know what or which one of them to use. I will select this randomly. Number of VMs, I will select 3, let's say. If I need to use the standard SSD or premium SSD, you know, each and every one of these decisions will reflect on the cost that you're going to be billed with. So just make sure that you select the one that suits you. Here, what I skipped in the last one, it is the virtual network, I will choose the VNet, which I already created. From here, I go to Active Directory. If I'm using the Active Directory and I need to join this I need to join this virtual machine to an Active Directory, I should type the domain name. I still don't have a domain now, but let's say Joan at Adatom. This is the name you're going to see on your labs. And the password, I will just type anything, just for demonstration purposes, okay? Then if I have a virtual machine, it should have a username and a password. You see that all these red asterisks means that this is a mandatory field. I will type admin, the password. Let me say, because there are some reserved names like admin, it is not allowed to use it anymore. The password, I will choose anything also with the recommended complexibility. Okay. Okay. Okay, finally. If I have an ARM template that needs to pre-install anything or a URL file, I can type here the path for that. I'm not going to create it. I'm just trying to show you everything you might need. If you need to have a workspace, you go ahead and select the workspace that you already created. I have one already created. Then I advance, review, and create. Let me see the review of that. I won't create it, but I'm just doing that for your eyes to see the steps you might be facing during the labs or whenever you are creating a real-life environment, okay? Here are some commands that you might use for creating. I showed you how to create the pool with GUI or the graphical user interface. Here are some commands that you might need to use. As you can see here, this is a new host pool, new AZW host pool. This command is used to create a new host pool. Here you have to fill what is here between these small brackets. You have to put real names that you are using. This is the resource group name. This is the host pool name. This is the workspace name. You replace these names here with the real names that you are using. You can use these commands. You can copy these commands and keep them with you, but you have to keep in mind that you should replace these here with the real names that you are using. As you can see here, this one is to create a host pool. Another one to create a registration token for authorization. This is the command. To add an Azure Active Directory users to, as you know, all the users should be domain joined. So this is the command you are going to use. And again, I tell you, everything that is between brackets or between quotation, this you should replace with the real name that you are using. Another command is to add Azure Active Directory user groups. Okay, here we are adding users, but here this is the difference between the one there and the one here. This one is for adding the users, while the next one or the other one is for adding the groups. So these two commands, because it is the best method to follow, is always creating groups, then adding users to them, because this way or this method makes control over users much better. So what I mean by that, if we have, let's say, a department for IT department and another department for, let's say, finance, the users of the IT logically should have some permissions that they do not share with the group of the finance. So in order not to, let's say we have Sam, we have John, and we have others that are members, maybe 10, maybe 5, maybe 100 users that should have the right to be a helping guide or helping aid for the administrator. We create a group, let's say, call it IT, and we have another group and we call it finance. In the finance group, the rules and the permissions used are not the same that are used for the IT or for the other department. So that's why we should always create users and we should always create groups. So these are the commands we're going to use. Okay, this is the project user group object ID. This is the name, or this is what you should also always remember, that to use your real names that you're going to use. Okay. Now these are some commands we're going to use also to configure a host pool automatically. Sometimes it is easier for us to use commands in order to create multi-host host pools. Let's say you are in the beginning of the design of your infrastructure or your architecture, you are going to use, let's say, hundreds or thousands of host pools, including many host application groups, including thousands of users, including lots and lots of host pools and applications and a lot. So it is the best way is to use the script. The scripts make it easier for you to create automatically hundreds or multi-numbers of pools or multi-number of any hardware or any services you're going to use. These are the commands. As you can see, this command is update AZW host pool. This is Azure Virtual Desktop host pool. This is the name, and you set the resource group as I told you and make it automatic. It's like forcing to create that. To assign a user to a personal desktop, here is the command you might need. It is a user, let's say this user is Sarah, and she wants to be added, and we need to add Sarah to a specific host pool. I'm sorry for my awful handwriting with the mouse, but it's just for explanation. Host pool. Okay, so what I need is to add the user name Sarah to be going to that application group name and the resource group name. So this way I automatically assign Sarah to this specific host pool. Okay, to configure a host pool that require direct assignment, I can use also the update. This is the main command. It's update AZW host pool. So I here get the personal desktop assignment. This is the assignment area where I choose what I do or what I assign directly. This is the command for this user. Okay, and also to assign a user, which means to assign a user to a specific host, I need this user to go directly to that or be assigned working area from this host or go directly to that session host, because as you know, I might have multiple sessions opened. Okay, session 1, S1, and S2, S3, blah, blah, blah. I need to assign David to go to a certain host pool. I just use this command. I use it and fill, as I told you, the names, the correct names with the user. This is the place where I assign the user. This is the place where I assign the host pool. And this is the place where I assign the resource group name. As you can see also, we have lots and lots of commands. All these commands will be used during the labs, but I'm just going through them just to explain what I mean by each and every one. So when you face these commands, you will be familiar or friendly with them. As you can see here, these are some commands to edit or add or customize the RDP properties. This is the always used command. It is the update. When we go deeper with that, we can here see the custom property of the RDP that we need, and we here add the properties that we need. To add or edit multiple custom RDPs, I can also, instead of adding one RDP or customizing one RDP, I can use multiple properties together. Again, these are the properties. I just separate them with a semicolon. I set property 1, property 2, and property 3, and add the information where this property should be installed or where it is destination, using the resource group, using the host required or the targeted host and the targeted resource group, and there where I display or set the properties. Here I set the properties, and here is the place where I use them. Okay, you can also check to make sure that your RDP properties were added. This is a host, this is a verification command to verify that all the properties you customized here or required here or set here are being applied. You can use this command, which is get the EasyW host pool dash resource group and the custom properties. This is the command that will bring you up the result of all the applied properties for your custom RDP. Okay, one important thing is licensing, as you should be aware of, is the licensing. As we talked yesterday about licensing, whenever we are using or logging with a Windows operating system, whether it is a Windows desktop or a server or any of the host or machine that needs to be used, each and every machine should have a license. We remember what we said yesterday, what we told about the hybrid benefits and the hybrid benefits that we can use the already owned licenses. Sometimes we need to add some licensing for our hosts that we're going to use. So here are some commands that we can apply to use the licensing that we have. We can do something before we just start writing these commands. We can prepare an image, and this image, if we are getting this image from the marketplace, this image will already will have a license applied. Okay, because we already got it from the marketplace, and if we got it from the GitHub resource templates, also have the license applied and already installed on your virtual machine. So it's easier for you to get a machine or a host machine from the marketplace and from the GitHub. But what if you need to use a license for your existing virtual machines? Here is where you have to create a new virtual machine, apply the license to it, and apply this license to all the clients or to all the machines, and let the users go to apply this license over the new or the customized, let's say customized machine that you have. So here are some commands we have to use. You can here, as I told you, if we get it from marketplace, it's already licensed. From Resource Manager license, here we have to add or to write some commands to get the licenses and apply these licenses to our session or our host virtual machines. To apply these, this is the command I'm going to use. Okay, this is the resource group, and this is the name of the virtual machine that we are going to apply the license for. This is the license type. As you know, we have Windows clients, we have CALs. CALs are used for remote desktops. They are, if you have them already, you can use them. And this is one method of getting better pricing factor. So remember that if you have your own licenses, you can apply them to your new created virtual machines. Whenever we're going to talk, we should say some important things. you should always have all your virtual machines domain joined. This is very important. You should always configure your virtual machines to join the domain and use guide them to use the personal desktop with the local user profiles. You need to have, if you have pooled desktop, you need to use them as a jump box, and as a jump box that your virtual machines will go directly to the place where the pools are or where the profiles are installed, and you go to there from joining these host pools. Always join them with an Azure joined virtual machines. To configure these steps, you should put all these configuration while creating these machines or while creating this desktop, as I told you, or I showed you there. Let me show it to you again. This is the virtual machine. There are some configuration. If you need to log in directly using a domain, here is the domain. You should state the name of the domain and the password of a privileged user who can log in with this role, as I said, is joining a domain. Every user that needs to be joined to a domain, this thing should be done by an administrator or by a person or a user who has the ability to join or domain join any client. And then here you should use the username supplied to you by the administrator. This will be your personal email, personal username and password that you're going to use to log into your virtual machine that will be already joined because of this step. When we selected the Active Directory or the Azure Active Directory, it depends on where you are hosting your server or your Active Directory. If you choose this, here you have to join the domain. As you can see, Active Directory domain join UPN. This is where you set the name of the domain, and where is you set the name. There's the user or the administrator who has the ability to join you as a virtual machine or as a user. And here is the username and password you're going to use to log in to your virtual machine. Okay, let me go with you again here. Let's see. I will select. As you can see here, you can use one of many choices. If you need to see all the images, you press see all images. It will show you the marketplace images. Here, as you can see, you have lots of users, lots of machines, sorry. You can see they are here just categorized. I will type here, let me type something to search for something in specific. I will type Windows, and it will the compute. Okay, as you can see here, these are the different types of machines I can deploy. Whenever I get the machine from here, from the marketplace, I told you already, it will be including the license. And if you need to update that, you can also get it from the marketplace and then use a feature to use your already purchased license if you have one. As you can see here, we have lots and lots of data of servers and machines you can pick from. One important image or image I need to tell you about, which is the Windows 10 multi-user. This is a very important image you can use. As you can see here, we have Windows 7, Windows 8, lots of them. I want to just emphasize on something, is that we have a good choice or an excellent choice, which is Windows 10 Enterprise Multi-User. This one, or multi-session, can allow us to use or to log in multiple users on the same Windows. Okay, so I'll get back. I didn't choose any. I got back here. Here are the application groups. Application groups is where I host my applications that I need to use during my sessions. I can have Office. I can have any customized application I might need. This is the application group, and this is the workspace that is the container that includes all these. Of course, you will see that, and you will be working with that during your sessions. Then this is the last slide of the model. We'll get just a quick reminder of what we've seen: how to configure pool assignment types, automatic creation of an Azure desktop host pool, how to customize the remote desktop protocol properties, and how to manage the licensing. I will get back to show you something related to assignments. Let's keep it for the last, after the last model, I show it to you with better examples, and when to choose Azure domain joined VMs in Azure Virtual Desktop. We always use domain joined devices whenever we have a domain and we need this virtual machine to automatically log to that domain. I showed you that on the portal. How do we do that, and how do okay, now we're moving to how to create a managed VM. I will spend some time explaining these because it is very important. How to create the VM, how to modify the session host, how to decide which VM we're going to use, which family, how we're going to use what is called the image gallery, where it is like a repository for us to pick images and load software where other users can download or install their application from this source. And important also, how to install the language package, how to create a managed VM, how to modify a session host, how to plan for image update and management. And we'll see all these because they are so important and will give us a lot of expertise during that. What if I want to create an image? This is a very important step. That's what I said in the beginning of the day one, is that the users or the persons joining this week, this cloud week, should have a prerequisite of knowing how to create the images, how to they should have some basic knowledge regarding, or not basic, let's say moderate or immediate knowledge using, creating, and managing the virtual machines, because it is so important for us as an administrator to understand the basics and know the basics of that. As I told you before that, Windows 10 is an important type of images. Windows 10 multi-session is very important, and it is available in the gallery of the images. I showed you that. And there are two options for customizing the image. The first option is to provision a virtual machine. The second image is to create it local by downloading the image and provisioning to a VM. Let me explain that to you, what I mean by that. Sometimes you can go again and again, I will go to the portal. As you can see here, when I'm creating a new virtual host, a new host pool, we have the virtual machines. I will go directly there and show you what I mean by that. So when I'm creating, I will say yes, it will open this for me. As you can see here, we go to the size, okay? If I have my own, when I press change size, I hope it opens faster. Maybe I should do something. Resource group. Okay, a name of your host 123. Let's say that. Okay. Why isn't it opening? Maybe I should do the basics before that. Host pool 3. Okay. This is the host pool 3. I will be validation environment. I will not use it. I will keep it on desktop, or maybe it will be a remote. It will be the choice whenever you're doing your labs. The host pool, I will make it pooled. And I will go now to the virtual machines again. I'm just doing all this in front of you because whenever you see it, it is better. Why isn't it loading? Let me... Anyway, this is what I want to show you here. If I need to get an image from the already made ones, I press here, or I press on see all images. I want to show you this is my items. My items is the place where you can find the images that you created and shared. You know, whenever you have your own virtual image and you have created that and shared it, you will find it here. Of course, it should be on a shared storage. Let's get that very well understood. Whenever you need your storage to be, or your image to be shared, you should first, let's, as you know, use the commands that are used to prepare any image, like the sysprep. You know, of course, you know sysprep. Sysprep. This is step number 1. You go through it. Then you create the image. Then you put that image on a shared storage, and you can find the image that you created or that you want to use. You can find it here on my items, okay? And this will be seen during the labs, and you will be doing that, of course, during the labs, okay? Let's go to the marketplace again. And as I told you, there is where you can differentiate whether you're going to use one ready image or you're going to use one of the images that you created, okay? One important thing is to go through the creation of a virtual machine. It is so important to do that. I will create with you now a virtual machine. Okay, I will press on create. As you can see here, we have a drop-down list. You can choose an Azure virtual machine with preset another one is with preset configuration. If you have some specific configuration that you wanted to be installed to just to save time, and you have some requisitions, you can use this preset configuration. You have an Azure Arc virtual machine, and you have an Azure VMware Solution virtual machine. Each and every one of these has its own properties, has its own specifications. So you should know which one you are going to use. I will now just press on create. and I will go with create a virtual machine. Okay, it's taking a bit of time to start, but it's okay. Okay, here is the main what we should make choices about. This is my subscription. Of course, each and every one of you will have a valid subscription when you start your labs. When you use your keys that you acquired during the labs, you will have your subscription here. Okay, I will type I will choose an existing resource group, or if I want, I can create one. I will call it VM resource group. Maybe I want to create a resource group specially for my VMs, and this is more advised. I will type a new virtual machine name. You can follow any naming sequence or naming related to your hierarchy, related to the business types, or related to the department. This is up to you. I will call it, let's say, IT VM 1 or IT department VM 1. Okay. I will choose the location. I will choose the availability zone. Okay, I can use it with the scaling or without scaling. As I told you, you should know that each and every choice you make here will affect the pricing. So make sure that you're choosing the correct one for you, or for your plan for the pricing. As you can see here, again, you can see all the virtual machines you need to choose from, or see all the images available. Got it. Okay. You can just tile the view and see more details about the image you are choosing. As you can see here, you can see the plans. Okay. See which plans suits you the best and choose the image that you might find suitable for your environment. I'll pick, let's say I have a legacy application. I might need Windows 7 to use it. I select the Windows 7. Okay. Of course, Windows 10 and Windows 7 are supported with virtual desktop, but Windows 8 is not. Just remember that. I will choose a name for this machine. I will call it on my name. And I will set a password. And I guess I'm good to go. This is if I'm allowing the RTP or not. If I have, this is an important thing you should be aware of. If I have, I confirm I have an eligible Windows 10. If I have I have a license, I confirm there. And in additional steps, I should use the license that I have. I will skip that now. I will go to disks, where I will create the disks of this virtual machine. Here I will choose the disk that will be used for the operating system. This is the operating disk. I can also encrypt, use the encryption. I will choose this one as a premium. Maybe I need to reduce the cost. I can use the standard hard disks. Okay. And if I need to create another additional disk, I will go to create and attach a new disk. Okay. I will keep this name as is and leave it as it is. I will choose the size of my disk if I need to increase the size. Okay, or the type. Here are the premium SSD types. Okay, or I need to reduce the cost by using the standard also. You can see here multiple choices I have. I will choose the standard. I have the size here. I can reduce the size to 32 gigabits, and I will drop down to the bottom. Then if I need to have a custom disk size, I will press on OK, and I will go and press OK here. This is the disk I created. I will go to networking. If I need to set up any additional configuration for my network, I will choose if I need to put it in a subnet. If I have a subnet, I will choose there. These, of course, all this I'm doing here can be done writing one simple script that will install all these, but you should know as an administrator, you should know all the steps being done, because whenever you're facing any problem creating a script or loading a script from, let's say, from GitHub, and you have an error message stating that you have a problem in your networking configuration related to this virtual machine, then you should go to this to know to go to the specific area where you should be knowing this virtual machine's configuration where are exactly. Then I will go to the management. I guess I will skip that. Let me just double check if I'm going to enable assigned management, if I will do that or not. If I need to shut down, many things, as you can see, I can do. I will shut down this machine automatically each day at XYZ time, and this will be related to my area where the time zone I'm coming from, and it will send me an email whenever it performs this shutdown. As you can see, you are controlling a virtual machine. Imagine your laptop can do that and send you an email whenever it's doing anything. This is the one of the most important characteristics of the web hosted machines or the cloud services. As you know, we can also enable monitoring. Any virtual machine, take this into consideration, any virtual machine you create on Azure is automatically being monitored. But if I need to add additional monitoring or alerts, I should enable that and write some scripts or install some additional clients or agents to that machine. And the advanced, let me see if there's something I need to add here. If I have any extension I need to add, I will select the extension to install. Okay, as you can see, we have many agents that I might need to install. I have also here load more. I will see more agents. Sometimes I might need a network watcher agent. I might need antivirus or any extension that will be installed on my virtual machine. So I pick it up, and don't forget that everything you add, you will be paying for. Some things are free, but most of the things are charged. If I need to add any tag, then I will go and review and create to see if this virtual machine that it is giving me a red alert. There's something missing in the basics. What did we miss? Okay, I confirm this is the license. I should press on confirm. Okay, and I guess we are good to go. Let's press on review and create again. Okay, I guess everything will be passing through. Guys, don't ever be frustrated whenever you're creating something. Let's see here the details. It's stating that it will be costing me 0.0052 US dollars per hour. This is the cost of my machine per hour. Of course, you can see others. Why am I just emphasizing on the cost? Because it's very important factor. You do not want to get a message when you turn on your or you log into your portal and you see that you are out of money. Of course, there are in Azure there are budget control services, but you always, as an administrator, should be aware of the cost you are paying or creating as services. And this is one of the important rules you should pay attention to and do in the creation of any service. Let's see. Okay, it's now creating. It will take some time. I make sure that everything is going on by going to the bell. These are old, as you can see, from about 44 minutes. I can ignore them. Okay, we'll see our deployment going. Okay, here is what I want you to see. These are the steps are being done. We can see the details. I will leave it deploying and get back to the slides. So it will be deploying our virtual machines that we are creating, I guess, and it will take around 5 minutes, and we'll get back to that when it is done. So you can use the pre-defined or the already made, already created on the marketplace virtual machines, or you can use image from the image gallery, or you can create your own image to be used. And I showed you where to pick each and every one of these. Okay, in order to enable or to create your image, there are some commands you should be aware of, like disabling the automatic updates. This is very important to just be aware that not what I prefer is always disabling the automatic updates, because sometimes the updates might be not suitable for your environment. So what I advise is that you have a virtual machine for testing and or maybe for updates. So you install these updates on that virtual machine first before deploying it to all your environment, and check and leave it working maybe for 1 or 2 or 3 days, and apply all tests you might need, and then just use this or update other virtual machines with this update. This is where you stop, go. This is, as you can see, this is a registry edit. So you can even do it manually, or you can write the script or the command, and this command will disable the automatic update. This command is for disabling the automatic update. One important thing also is to specify the start layout of Windows 10 PCs, which means that whenever you start, you have some special roaming environments by using, as I told you, the roaming profiles, which are controlled by FSX logics. Then you need to register it also and tell what you're going to use, which is a special roaming override allowed. This roaming profile will override the specified or the default roaming or the default profile you have. So the roaming profile will override. We are allowing it here to override, and it will show us a specific layout for our Windows 10 PCs. Then another important thing is redirecting time zones. I might sometimes need to unify, if I'm using the correct word, unify the time for all the users. I will also need to enable time zone redirection to redirect all my clients to a specific time zone. Maybe I am now in, let's say, Lebanon, and I have users coming from, or I have users in another branch of my company in the US, and there is a time difference between Middle East and US. So I don't want the users in the US to fall into any problems, and so that I will direct their machines to the specified or to the time zone that they should use to always be working and efficient. Okay. Uh, Planning for the image update. As I told you earlier, updating the image or the master image you are using is something very important, because this image or this client's image or the server images are very important to be always updated regarding the security threats. As you know, the Microsoft or Macintosh or Apple are always up, or maybe Android, they are always updating their operating systems. And there are many updates related to threats that are daily or per hour coming for attacks or suspicious actions. What I need is maybe, or also I need to update one specific application. It's not always about the operating system. I might need to update a specific application or a specific gallery that I created. That's why I should plan very well for the update. I have many sources for the updating. I could update from the image source, which is a virtual machine, a virtual disk, let's say, okay, or it is a gallery that I created. So that's why I should take good consideration when I need to update my images. If I had a gallery, if I have a gallery, I will show you some galleries, how to create a gallery. And I also have some image definitions that are created with the gallery. Maybe I have a gallery that includes many images, and I need, and each and every one of these images has its own definition. Okay, this is one, this is two. I'm just giving you examples, and I need to update one of these only. So I would need to specify the definition of the image or the image in the gallery that I need to update. So I need to know where I am getting these updates and where I am downloading these updates or installing these updates, and see the image version that I am using. It's always a good thing to have image versions, so that you know that this version, whenever it will be updated, this version number will change, so that you can know this version suits what. So sometimes some security updates might affect a typical versions of the operating systems or of the application, because it was updated in a place where it won't be compatible for now with my images. So I need to hold this update until the solution of that is related to my customized applications or to my customized or maybe legacy applications to be solved. Then I will be applying this image. How do I apply images? How do I apply these updates? I have lots and lots of choices. I can do that manually. I can use Intunes. I can use update tools. Whatever I need to use, I should always make sure that this update will not affect my environment. How do I do that? As I told you, create what is called the test environment. If I have multiple users, I'll create a test machine so that I apply these updates to it, whether I am applying this update to a client or to an application, to a client, to a pool, to a group of applications that are in a compute gallery. This is the Azure Compute Gallery. The Compute Gallery, as I told you, is like a storage that holds a gallery of applications, a gallery of operating systems, a gallery of uh, any applications, or let's say its application is the best description of that, or package, so that whenever I need to update, I go to this or guide. The update tool or the update system is to take that from that computer gallery, so that a computer gallery simplifies my sharing, simplifies sharing these images or sharing these packages. Let's say I am using an application, and this application is app one. I asked the developers on my team, this application is version 1, V1. Users or clients or customers asked for a certain update for this application. This request will be forwarded for the developer department. The developers will do their updates or enhancement and will set this package as version, let's say 1.1. Now I need to update all the clients or all my users using this applications who are, let's say, 100 or 1,000 users or 1,000 employees. Instead of updating each and every one of them, I can use a compute gallery to put these updates or this new version of the application in, and all my users, if they have the correct permission to go to, they will be going there and will be directed there and get this from their compute gallery that will let them use the shared custom VM images if we are going to virtual machines, or choose or get the packages of the application they need, and they will be sharing or getting their updates from that location. So this is the compute gallery. Let's go to the portal and see my deployment is done. Let's see, this is the deployment. I will go to the resource before I go to the compute gallery. This is my virtual machine. It is already started. I can connect to it using the RDP. This will do later. This is my virtual machine. As you can see, these are the configuration. As you can see, the monitoring has started. Okay. This is my virtual machine. This is the virtual machine I am using. These are in the left-hand menu. I can see lots and lots of things related to my machine. Remember that when using Azure Virtual Desktop, the virtual machines, if they are created through the host pools, I cannot monitor them without an agent. You will see this during your labs. It's just a notification I want you to be aware of. And I will go now to the Azure Compute Gallery. Compute Gallery. Okay, this is the Azure Compute Gallery. Okay, here I will create a new Azure Compute Gallery. Well, this is the subscription. This is the resource group. Again and again, I might create a new one for my compute gallery. Just resource groups. Oh, sorry, I can't use spaces. Let me reduce the name, RG. and I will type OK. The name of this resource group will be okay. I will call it compute gallery 1, and it will be in EastUS. I will go to the sharing method. I can use RBA plus shared, blah, blah, blah. I will go to the tags. I will review and create this compute gallery. I just choose the sharing. This is the sharing, the role-based. We'll talk about the role-based now, and I will show you many examples regarding this. Review and create. Okay. And I will press on create. I will wait a second, and I will press on create, and I will wait it to finish. There, this is, again, what we have seen. The subscription name, the resource group, the name of the Azure Compute Gallery. Since it is shared, it will be seen by the people or the users that should see, and they will be able to connect to that compute gallery and pick up the virtual machine they want, or the application or the package they need to use. So you can distribute the image through using some commands like this one. This command, the first thing is to build the image. This is a command that you need to use in order to build an image for Azure. This image will be shared so that it can be used to be distributed to all users that have the right to log in or to have the update from this image. Okay, so how do I create it? I use this command. This command is a start-az image builder template. Of course, the resource group name, you should use the resource group name, and the image resource group, and the name of the image I'm using with no wait, which means go ahead and run this instantly, directly, without waiting. You can create virtual desktop with customization. Let's say they make it set up directly or automatically with the FS logics, maybe with Teams, maybe with Restart Customizer, with any update customizer. So whenever you create the image, the first thing you do, install the image, set up the image, set up any application that you want, or any extensions on any agents that you want. Go ahead and sysprep this image and take the snap of this image and deploy it. So whenever it is distributed to different hosts and to different pools, it will have the configuration you set up, and it will be running for all users as you want. Okay? You can also, what I said is not only for Windows, as I told you before that, you can install Office and applications using, I guess I told you that in previous, in the previous lesson or slides. You can install the Office deployment tool to install Office. The Office deployment tool is a tool that is used to distribute the Office around multiple users, and this is a deployment tool for Office 365. Of course, we have Windows deployment tool, we have Microsoft Office, the earlier versions deployment tools, and we also have deployment tools, third-party deployment tools for any other applications. One important thing is that you should be using the virtual, these images should be installed in a virtual hard disk to be uploaded to Azure, because Azure knows how to talk with that, or you can use OneDrive and many other applications that use the same VHD image to get the application installed or distributed among others or multiple users. Some basic things you should go with when you need to create a virtual image. You need to the following to customize Windows 10. Let's see what are these recommendation. You need to have an Azure virtual machine with Windows 10 multi-session, and this is because multiple users are going to use or to log into this machine. We have the language, which is an important feature because each and every user needs a language that is compatible with him. Some users may be using English, other users might be using French, others might be using Japanese or Chinese or German or whatever they need. So we have multi-language usage so that we can create an ISO for on each image and deploy these images and install these images for groups. Let's say we have a group of users that are in the US and they need the English US. Okay. Others are in Japan and they need their language pack, and we need a lot of language packs. So we prepare these packs in ISO format, so these can be installed or added to the image we are going to distribute among or use in our host pools or distribution. And we need an Azure file share in order to be the place that will be hosting or holding these images. Then the operating system for the users that is going to share is the Windows 10 Enterprise Multi-Session. One of you might say, I might need to use another one. Of course you can, but I'm giving you guidelines. You can follow or you can do the customization that you want. To create a custom Windows 10 multi-session image manually, you need to go to deploy the VM, then go to the gallery and select the version that you want. After you deploy that, connect to it using the virtual machine. Make sure that it has the latest Windows updates, connect the language pack, and then after that, you use the sysprep to prepare this image for being used for other users. So these are the steps you should follow, and you're going to see that also in the labs. So I guess I will go back to the portal. Let me show you the portal now. Okay, my image gallery is ready. I will type here image gallery. I can find from here, or I can just go to my resources. There is one, it's called all resources. Okay, I have a compute gallery. This is my compute gallery. This is the storage. This is the host pool. I will press here on my compute gallery. Here are the properties. This is the settings for the sharing, as you have seen, which is very important because all the the sharing is related to role-based access control. I will explain that now. I will take some time explaining that because this is so important. You can see this is the overview of the compute gallery. If I need to add the image, I will press on the add, VM image definition, or the VM application definition. This one is used for the operating systems, and this is used for the application. Okay, I'll go there, and I will just, I'm showing what you need. I'm just explaining that. Then you are going to do that. Let me see. Let's call it app one definition. It will be in EastUS because we started on EastUS. I will choose Windows application. If you have a Linux applications, it's up to you. It's not a problem. Okay, and if I have any other things I need to, oops, what did I do? Sorry. Again, just main steps and you will be okay. I will show you the VM, the difference between the two, okay? As you can see here, we have, since we are going to use an operating system, VM, there are some additional things we should set. VM1 OS, let's say. It is standard, always check here for this. The standard might be the cheapest or a free tier. The VM generation, which generation, as you can see here, and let's say the OS state generalized, which is being done or prepared to be customized. It means like whenever you install your Windows, a fresh copy of Windows, whenever you run it for the first time, it runs in the generalized mode. So as a user, you should go in to type your username, your password, you connect maybe to a wireless network, etc. A specialized is one that is pre-configured with some pre-configuration, so the user will start his image directly to the specific configuration that you as an administrator or as a company want him to start with. So the generalized, as I told you, is the general, like the Windows, the fresh Windows, while the specialized is one that with pre-configuration. Next, we go to who is the publisher. If we have SKUs, we just type them here. The versions, which versions are we going to use, or what is this, the current version? This is the version name, etc. And this is the public or the publishing options, the release notes. Anything or everything related to this will be explained during or will be understood during because I'm doing all the explanation for that. Now I will go and tell you some things about the role-based assignments. Whenever I need to use any of the host pools or any of the roles I need to assign, as you know, role-based access management is something very important. Sometimes I need to assign some users some roles or assign some roles to some user or to specific administrators. This is the host pool level. I go to the host pool. I press on the access control IAM. I will choose the role assignment I need. As you can see here, there are some common roles that I might find everywhere. I will press on roles. As you see here, we have the owner, the contributor, the reader, and the application group. They are almost, the owner, contributor, and reader are almost main or common between all the services. You can find them everywhere. But when it comes to a desktop virtualization application, you can see there are some roles related to that. We have desktop virtualization contributor, we have a reader. We have desktop virtualization contributor, we have also a reader. All you see here, all these from here till there are especially for the desktop virtualization. These roles are related to virtualization or the virtual machines or to desktop virtualization service. All these, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 12 roles. They are specifically used for this virtualization service. We'll get to the host pool again. This you should know who to assign for what. And when you go deeper to this host pool, application groups, these are the application groups. We'll go the application group. As you can see also, we will have also the access control. As you can see also, we have roles. So you as an administrator or an owner or responsible for this virtualization, you should know whom to assign and what to assign, for which user and what to assign for each of the users. Okay? This is what I'm talking about. These roles or these assignments are specifically for the host pools, for the application pools, or for the application groups, and specifically for the host pool 1. So if I have different host pools or multiple host pools, I can create another host pool. Okay. It is already not created. No. Okay, I will do it. Let's see what is required. Okay, this is the application group name, app group 1. And I will review and create. This is an application group. I will show you that I can assign specific users for this application group. So I allow specific users to go to and use these applications. Of course, here, so there should be an administrator. I will select him. And also, I need to use the virtual desktop users or the virtual machine, the virtual desktop users service that are, as you have seen, I have lots of users. I will show you that I have a group for pooled and a group for personal, and you will also have that during your labs. So I'm assigning, let's say, the pooled for this application group, and I will be assigning other users. I hope you are okay. Remote apps and select. Okay, I will create it. As you know, what I'm doing here is not the role based. It is the assignment of the groups or for the specific users to be able to join or to use these application groups. But I'll get you again to the assignments of the roles. Okay? Let it be. Again, here, as I told you, we have this host pool. Inside this host pool, Now I should have a dashboard that will show me some result. Let me wait for that. Let us wait for that. Okay. While we go back to our... Okay. This is the end of this model, but we'll get back to the portal, of course. I will just summarize what we have seen. We have created virtual images, or we now know how to do that. We know I explained some basic commands that we're going to use. We have some commands. We have seen some commands how to modify a session host image, and we have some rules, or I told you some recommendation regarding the update of the image, how to do that, how to prepare the image, how to just not apply the updates directly to the image. These are some recommendations. We have also created an image gallery for our virtual desktop users or clients, and we need, as I told you, that installing the language packs in an ISO format is so important. So the steps you have seen and I've told you and you have read in one of the slides is to prepare the image. If you have any pre-configurations or prerequisites, you should install the applications you might need. Here we'll say the applications and configuration, extensions. This image is now ready with all pre-configurations that I need. I just generalize this image. I generalize it. How do I generalize this image? By using the sysprep. And then after that, I can deploy this image to the shared location, to the gallery I did, to the deployment tool I'm going to use. Okay, let's get back to the portal and see where is our deployment. Our deployment now is ready. We'll go to the resource. Okay, here we have, as you have, I assigned 3 assignments for these application groups. We can see them again. We can press on manage. Give it some time. Okay, these are the groups that are assigned to this app group 1. Okay. And also for this app group 1, I have an access control using the roles to decide who will be, let's say, the reader. I will choose this one. Add role assignment. Okay, I will add a role assignment for one of the users. What assignment do I need to add for this user? Let's say virtual application. Okay. Desktop virtualization group contributor, let's say. Next, we will be choosing who is the number that will get this role. It is, let's say it's admin 1. Select and review and assign. And he's good. Okay. As I showed you, these are the roles that I was talking about. We just saw how to assign users and the groups. We saw the scopes. I showed you that already. Here are some commands that we might be using, like a new role assignment, for each of the users. These commands can be substituted with what we did. What we did, or what I did, was using the GUI. You can use these commands instead, and you can apply these rules to the users you have by using as a new role assignment, the sign-in name, and what is the assignment or the role that you want. Okay, there's another command. I'm using the object ID, what is the object, what is the role you're going to give. Here is a desktop virtualization user. We can substitute it with, let's say, virtualization contributor, and it will apply through the command prompt or the Azure bash, maybe, and it will be applied to the user that you specified. Okay, here are some Azure Active Directory, how to add them. Okay, there are some specifications that or regulations that we might use. I will tell you about some regulations that you okay. Sometimes I need to end users to connect securely to a file desktop from any device. This is what I need to tell you about. Let me go here. Sometimes I need my virtual desktops to be to disable the screen capture of my virtual images or my virtual desktop. Why do I do that? It's a protection for my sensitive information. So this, where I should enable this feature, which is disabling for the screen capture. This is one important thing I should do. Where I do that? As you can see here, we are in the group policy. I go to the Azure Virtual Desktop, and I can see here what is called enable screen capture. So I disable that in order to protect my environment. So before we reach to the end, I will just need to summary or to do some summary regarding what we explained and what we saw. Again, this is where I showed you that on the portal, where I get beside the scopes and the members and assigning them the roles. This is where they are assigned by command prompt. These are the two methods. One important thing I told you about is I can use, already I told you that I can use Intune to update my virtual desktop, or I can use any updating or deployment tools. Okay, you can use any of the deployment tools, like let's say Windows deployment tool. I can that can deploy the image for multiple users from an internet or from a source or from a virtual gallery or from a gallery. We called it, and we saw that. And some of these can be these informations, like as I told you, the generalization will give us a new fresh copy, and if I need pre-configured, I can use a pre-configuration and add them to my virtual image and generalize the image and make it usable for all the users. Okay, then as we have seen, I described the role-based. I have told you how to separate between the role-based for each and every service. We have some common and we have some specific. We know that I can configure Azure Virtual Desktops with Intune. I also can install, I can update, I can do lots of things using the Intune or any other deployment tool, how I can enable or disable the capture of the virtual desktops. I hope today was a successful day. It was a fruitful day for every one of us. I hope now you can go back to your labs after 30 minutes. So I guess I'll be seeing you after 30 minutes. So check if you have received anything related to the tickets that you set, and we'll see you in 30 minutes. Okay? Take care, and after 30 minutes, we'll be with you. Take this break for 30 minutes, and we'll be there at 6:30. Have a nice day, and see you then. Goodbye.